Hi everybody, I am Michelle, and if you clicked on this video, it's because you want to find out what are the best books to buy your little one that will have benefits later on still. And I like to call these books Grow With Me books. There is so many book options out there, there's so many different things, different opinions, and by saying that, I'm also trying to tell you that this is just my opinion and my tips and tricks on effective, good books that is out there. I hope you enjoy this video, and without further ado, let's jump into it. So just a little bit more, I am a mom, I got 2 little ones, I got a little boy who's almost a toddler, and then I got a 2.5-year-old. And these are books that my eldest had when she was a baby and still enjoy, and my little one who is a baby enjoys from birth still up to now, and I know he's going to be just like his sister when he's a bit older and still enjoy these books. Let's get into the video. So the first great books to read is these ones. I'm not sure what they call them in your part of the world, but here in South Africa we call them bath books, or that is how I've seen them labeled. Basically, they are little plastic books, normally have a squeaker in. I don't know if this one has a squeaker in. I might have taken it out. I find it highly annoying. Oh, no, it still has it in. Oh, it died. Okay, great stuff. But this is just a normal plastic bath book. I don't put my books in the bath basically for 2 reasons. Reason number 1, bath time is very exciting, mainly for my kids, and there is a lot more sciencey things that they can do. And number 2, I don't want them to get used to having books in the bath at such a young age, because they might just take a book that is not bath safe, dip it in the water, and I will cry. So these are fantastic books. This one specifically, and why I like this one over a book that doesn't have words on, is because it helps child to see the picture and the word. So this is all about baby animals. So you can see on the front cover it talks about puppies. Now something that I will do, and I haven't actually done it yet with this book, I'm not quite sure why, is I would write puppy and then dog, so they know what is the animal and the baby animal name as well. This just helps you or whoever might be reading to your little one to see both words and to read them with you. And that is exactly what I did with this little dinosaur book. Is I actually took the book and the dinosaur, and I tried my very best to figure out what dinosaur it is, because they're not very accurate to what I could find, and I wrote down the name. I believe this is not a triceratops, but we decided it's going to be a triceratops. So there is so many different things that you can do if you are gifted a book like this, and how you can make it a little bit more educational. Another thing that you can do is at the bottom of the book you can write a small story of what you see. Mommy dog and the baby puppies are laying in the grass. There's not quite grass there, but you can pretend there is. The hen and the chicks like to eat, what do they eat? Corn? Wheat? Seeds? But you get the gist of it. So there is ways that you can take these little bath books if they don't have a story in, and make them a bit more educational. So this is great, because then you make it a grow with me book. My daughter still enjoys these books. She can actually start naming what she can see. She can count the animals in it. She can tell me how many chicks is there, stuff like that. She can tell me also a story of what is the chicken and the chicks doing. So it's really lovely. The next book that I think is absolutely fantastic is these little soft material books. I personally love this one. I'm not quite sure what they are called, but they're the material books. And there's different versions of these material books. You can get one like this. still great, but it only has one word on them. There is another version of this specific book that is actually a full book with words in it, which I really like, but this little book I have just have one word in it, but at least it has a word in it, which is important. Again, my son loves this book. It's small, he can grab it, he can put it in his mouth, and I'm not going to freak out. When it gets dirty, chuck it in the washing machine and it comes out perfectly clean, which is great. And just to mention, with the plastic books, you can just wipe them down, chuck them in the sink with a little bit of dish soap, wash them, let them air dry. That's a great thing about those books, especially if you have a baba. So these has at least words in it, which is great because your child can see, and they are not bad option because they are small. These are a little bit less than the ones with more words in them. I don't know, the more you write, the more you get paid. So this is a lovely book. It's a very interactive book. You can see it has a little story in there. It has a noisy piece. It also allows them to interact because they can pull down the little flap to discover the thing. It's a peekaboo book, so they pull down the flap, they see the animal. It is really nice. So if you do buy one of these material books, put in a little bit of extra money, get the good ones, get the ones that has the words in it, that is interactive, that makes a little bit of noise, stuff that's really gonna get tracked. Things that has a lot of textures in is also really fantastic for books like that. And how this becomes a grow with me book, my child can now start mimicking the words here. Now in South Africa, we do have, I think we have spruce trees, we probably call them something else, but that is a new word, spruce. It's a tree. We do not have mooses, I can tell you that much, but she is learning words like moose, which is a really cool word. Who's always on the prowl? Well, it's Mr. Owl, which is also, again, rhyming words. She can start opening up the flap. She knows what to expect. And the sweet thing is she sometimes uses this book and she reads to her little baby brother, which is really sweet. So, great Grow With Me book. I know when she also gets a little bit older, and she can start reading, she might be sitting in the car with this and she might read the language that's inside of there. Yes, my kids actually do read in the car. We have a little basket box thing with books inside of it that we actually keep in the car for them. My next favorite book are these. If you've watched my previous videos, you might see that I've spoke about specifically this book and why I love it so much, and it is fantastic. My son loves these books since he was a newborn until now. He loves touching it, he loves feeling it. There's a lot of sensory stuff in it. On each page is a little bit different, so he loves doing that. Now that he's developing his fine motor skills, he's using a little finger and it makes a little noise, which is super fun for him as well. And my daughter loves it because she can actually follow the pattern, the writing pattern that's inside of here. And when she gets older, she can also start reading the content inside of this book. Brilliant, lovely book. Highly encourage you to get books like this. Another big specific reason why I like this book compared to some of the other sensory books, most of the pages has this rubber on, and you can actually see it better on this book. Now this book is a well-loved book. It's not even that old yet, but yeah, luckily I can fix that just with a bit of sticky tape. It is all these little plasticky feel. My son can be a little bit rough sometimes, and like you can see with the book itself, and yes, it is cardboard, which means you can't rip the pages, but also these little plasticky things means that he can play with it a bit rough, and I don't have to stress necessarily that he's gonna rip or tear the actual things. It is high censored, so it's not one of those books that has a little bit of erase and you have to really feel it. But it's lovely. So this book, this series of books, brilliant. The next book I have is this one. This is also a very censored book. great educational words inside of it, and that brings me to why I love these books. First, I'm going to talk about the size of the book. This book is great for small hands. It's not too small that it's complicated to turn the page, but it's also not so big that it's difficult to work with. My little 10-month-old can actually hold this book now, and he can flip the pages himself. He sometimes flips the whole book, but it's great for that, great for fine motor development. It has a bit of texture in it as well, but this is one of those books that has slight grace. You have to really feel it. But the reason, or another reason why I really like this book, is because of the words in it. It's educational, so it talks about a Saltosaurus, which is quite big words. It probably could have been a little bit more educational, can talk about omnivore, carnivores, herbivores, but that you can leave up to the people to chat to their children about as well. So lovely book, lovely textures, great words in it. Both my kids love dinosaurs, so it's really, really great. I never knew about this dinosaur, which is called the Edmontonia, correct me if I'm wrong, but never knew about this dinosaur, even that there was a dinosaur called the Edmontonia, until I found this book. So I even learned through this book. Then the next book, and if you watch my previous videos, you know how I feel about it. I think as a child, I read The Three Little Pigs perhaps one too many times, and I now don't actually enjoy it because it's just like so tiresome. But good classic fairy tales are still lovely to talk about. This is also a sensory book, so you can see most of these books are sensory. They can either squish them or chew them or touch them, which is good because babies need that when they are little. And all of them are hard, sturdy cardboard or material, so it's easy to page it. And it has words in it, so that's why it's a Grow With Me book. So this one is great because it has the touch and the feel. Big thing that I'm not the biggest fan of this book is the little pictures here in the front. You can probably hear that. My son can actually pull that, and you can see this one here, he's already taken a nice thing, so I have to fix that again. So be just aware of books when you buy them, you know, give them a little bit of a taste. If you see that they are a little bit weak, maybe miss that book, look for something else. But nonetheless, this is still a fantastic book. It's a classic, wonderful language in it. My little one loves to say, and I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house down. And she would blow, which is great for language. We can talk about the first little piggy, and she can say that he built a straw house, and it's not a strong house. We can talk about the wood house, and that's not a strong house, and that's the brick house. And disclaimer, I am a Christian, and I sometimes can incorporate this book into Christian morals and values and stories. And one of the stories in the Bible is about the wise man and the foolish man, and the wise man building his house on the rock, and it's strong and sturdy. And I can incorporate this fairy tale book with that Christian principle. So if you're a Christian, there's a little thing for you that you can also try and do. So lovely classic books, they still work, still touch and feel, still lovely language. So highly encourage you to get books like that. So that was my top 5 recommendations for books to go over. I hope that encourages you to get into a bookstore, to look for books and what to look for, and not to be as intimidating or overwhelmed in a good way about the amount of options that is out there. Share down below your top book recommendations for Grow With Me books, so books that your baby can use all the way through until they are a little bit older. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you again. Bye!